Ball out. Ball out.
Bow, bow. Bow, bow.
Ball out.
Bow,
Ball out.
bow. All we do is bow.
Ball out.
Bow, bow.
Ball out. Ball out.
Ball out.
Me and my hitters go all out. Ball out. Ball out. We about to take them all out. Ball out. Ball out. Me and my hitters go all out. Me and my hitters go all out. We about to take them all out. Ball out. Ball out. Me and my hitters go all out. Ball out. Ball out. We about to take them all out. Ball out. Ball out. Me and my hitters go all out. Me and my hitters go all out. We about to take them all out. Dropping by the mall out. Come deliver mail on y'all route. Show them what it's all about. Just get called out. Fall out. Me and my clique, we don't fall out. Me and my chick, we don't fall out. We minding our business, keep y'all out. Break up, get up quick, then we hit licks till it's all out. I hate my job, I'ma call out. Boss of myself, child out. I'm a recruiter, a high percentage shooters. Gotta keep rifles and Rugers. Some people just trifling and losers. Watch for the jackets at night, they be cruising. I can put together. AR Quinceañera. My hitters be tougher than leather. Can't nobody do it better. Glock 9 with the FN. Step in with my best friends. Best friend Smith and West End. If you miss 6, still catch 10. Ball out. Stall out. Pulling up outside the y'all house. Empty till we all out. I got the juice and I'm crazy. If you not a killer, don't say. Hit squad ain't nothing to play with. Undertaker and a grave dig. Best man like Tate Diggs. When you in the paint, gotta play big. Hitters ignorant like cavemen. Went from good fellas to made men. Ball out. Me and my hitters go all out. Child out, ball out. Get called out. Ball out. Me and my hitters go all out. Ball out. We about to take them all out. Ball out. Me and my hitters go all out. Me and my hitters go all out. We about to take them all out. Ball out. Me and my hitters go all out. Ball out. We about to take them all out. Ball out. Me and my hitters go all out. Me and my hitters go all out. We about to take them all out.
Y'all hurry up and get in here. It's the Boss Cowboy Sports Show, and we live. Hosted by yours truly, the OC, and the man himself, the man, the myth, the legend, Boss Cowboy, the number one cowboy in the land.
Oh, man.
Let's get it, y'all. Let's get into it. Boss Cowboy, what you got?
The number one. Somebody said you was the number one. I'm the number one. Okay, we both number one. We'll do it like that. What's up, OC?
Number one. How you feeling today, man?
Good. Like, I'm doing real good, man. We got a fantastic guest in the background. He putting on his shoes. He getting ready to dunk on the crowd. We getting ready to address some issues, man. And I'm real excited about
Absolutely.
it. Like, because we've been talking about this for a while, man. And we've been talking about this off air. This is something that's genuine to us, that we see some problems that I don't think a lot of the media does a good job of really highlighting. And that's the underutilization of strength and conditioning. So you want to kind of talk about Coach D, or we gonna let Coach D talk about himself? How you want to do it?
Man, I'm just going to give him a brief intro, man. Coach D is one of the top sports and performance coaches in Dallas. He works with youth all the way up to pro athletes, every age group and beyond. Has a kinesiology background. Wife has a sports therapy background, so they're a dynamic duo. Runs his own business right outside of the downtown area. And I'm going to let him introduce himself. I'm just giving him just kind of a brief intro, but happy to have Coach D on. If you don't remember Coach D, you can just call him the mentor, because Coach D mentors these boys professionally and also personally, and just is an awesome guy, and we're just happy to have him.
Yeah, and I tell you what I've, from the research that I've done on Coach D. First, what's up, Coach D?
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Can y'all hear me?
What's up, Coach?
Yeah, we hear you fine.
We can hear you.
What's good?
Yeah, we doing good. So, Coach, one of the things that I noticed is you seem to also specialize in combine work. So, but you seem very well rounded. So we definitely gonna ask you a lot of questions, because we feel, the OC and I, especially when you look at this year with the Cowboys, and Coach D is a Cowboy fan. He's born and raised out of Fort Worth, which is basically like our sister city or brother city, however you want to say it. But he's VFW. We see each other together, even though we separate cities. So he's a Dallas guy. But we've been noticing that it's really strength and conditioning in our opinions that have been kind of killing this team and causing injuries. So we're gonna go real heavy with you and kind of go back and forth on this, and we go try to talk and put the word out there to kind of really solve some of these problems so we don't repeat this in 2021. But first, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Oh man, appreciate it. First off, thank y'all for having me on the show. Hopefully I can add some value to the show today. Yeah, like you said, pretty much, man, I do training with youth all the way up to pros, man. There's a term within our field that most guys should know if you really take it serious, which is long-term athletic development. Right. And so that pretty much takes you from the fundamental stage all the way up to performance, and then after performance, you're talking about, living the rest of your life actively. So that's what it's about. The stages within that, but that's pretty much why I have that wide range. Yeah, definitely. Combine training is like something I'm passionate about, and I've been doing for the past few years. I went through the process. I understand it. When I was going through the process, I had some good coaches. I also had my background and the knowledge that I had, kind of gave myself an opportunity being an undersized guy, going out there performing, putting up the numbers. So I did everything I could, and I did pretty well. So I wanted to make sure that I was able to give that back to guys and give them what I can. And so, I've carried that on. When it comes to the youth, again, trying to develop them from a standpoint of building blocks, meaning in business and everything I do, I have what's called a brick by brick mentality. So when dealing with the youth, I came with that same approach, and they're not necessarily going to get it all in one day, but you lay brick by brick, and eventually, they'll become the athlete that you're trying to develop. So, and there's a spectrum all the way in between the youth all the way up to those pro guys. So.
Gotcha, Coach. So you have some questions?
Yeah, definitely. So, Coach, I want to jump right in to what the people really want to know and talk about. I want to know from your perspective, right, just from observing some of the type of injuries that the Cowboys have had this year, right? We've had neck injuries, we've had hip injuries, we've had ankle injuries, right? From your perspective, what do you see in terms of what can be improved, areas of strengths and weaknesses in terms of how these guys are trained and preparing to come into the season with a myriad of all these injuries, especially to key players and linemen in particular?
Right. Absolutely. That's a good question. And I'll speak to it in this aspect too, because you got to remember, this is the first COVID era of football that we've seen, right? When guys, OTA is a little bit different now, or this year. Training was different because they had to shut down facilities. I had guys from the Redskins and other teams have to sneak into my facility. I hate to say it, but they had to sneak into my facility to train because the facilities were shut down. When COVID hit, it was like, they hit everybody.
Yeah.
And so we had guys that had to try to improvise to find ways to train. And if they didn't really have knowledge on training, they probably just repeated whatever patterns that they're used to, right? And when you do that, you're neglecting certain things, right? And that's why everybody's like, why is the injury rate so high in the NFL this year? It was, well, they had the offseason wasn't what it usually is. Right. And so the whole point of a strength and conditioning program is a couple different aspects. Yes, we all understand. When you hear strength and conditioning, you automatically understand you got to build strength and conditioning. Okay, cool. Within the strength and conditioning program, if you got the right coach, you're talking about guys that will look at things like your posture or your running form, or when I say running form, not like to get you ready for a 40, but I mean like you might have certain stride patterns that may lead to injuries, and they're able to help you recognize it, see it, fix the problem.
Pause. Yeah, I know you're gonna stop on that, boss. Go ahead.
Whoa!
Wait a minute. He's giving us some meat right now.
Yes, he did. Hold on, Coach. Coach, did you just say running patterns itself can lead to injuries?
The studies show that not even just running patterns, movement patterns in general can lead to injury. When you look at ACL, I'm gonna get back on strength and conditioning, but when you look at ACL injuries, you type it up, Google it. There's plenty of studies that's been done. Majority of ACL injuries come from non-contact, and in our female counterparts, it's 2 to 8 times more when it comes to non-contact ACL injuries. And there's a lot of different studies that they've shown as the reason why, as far as how women are built, but even within the men, again, majority of them come from non-contact injuries, and that is it's an acute injury, yes, at that moment. But if you know the difference between an acute injury and a chronic injury is something that over time, those patterns, they develop like small tears in there, like it's just wear and tear over and over again. Derrick Rose being one of the most recent examples I can think of when they said his landing patterns is what led to his injuries, his knee injuries, because he would land a certain type of way, so he had to learn how to land on both feet and so forth. So not just running patterns, landing patterns, cutting patterns, lifting patterns. It's all type of patterns you can follow to trace back to ACL injuries and all type of injuries.
My goodness. Listen. See, because you know what, OC? We talked about him as a person. We talked about him as a professional, somebody that's obviously passionate, that put his whole life into athletics. But you know what we didn't talk about? His education.
Extreme IQ, kinesiology background. I tried to highlight that briefly. Yeah, extremely educated, understands the body.
Degree in health and human resources is what y'all listening to. Massage therapist, licensed massage, muscle laxity and recovery is his specialty. And when you look at the fact that he has years and years of working with TCU as well as SMU and internships, that's why I had to pause him. Like, hold on, man. Hey, you can't go that fast. You can't just. Because see, you could tell he breathes it. But see, this is something that the OC and I has greatly identified, that we know, honestly, Coach D, you guys are underpaid and underrecognized and undervalued.
Oh man, yeah, across the board. You know, of course, and that's funny. Sunday, I was working with one of my clients at the track, a young girl, junior Olympian, excellent athlete. And, her father believes in what we do. I'm teaching her things that I wish somebody would tell me when I was young.
Right.
And we were having a conversation. He was like, man, you ever just want to go work in the college rank? I said, I was about to, but then when I saw, I got a daughter and they were only going to pay me $20,000 or take a GA position, and it's like I got mouths to feed. It's sad that I couldn't just go that route, but I had to toss trash at one point in my life for like a small apartment complex. You just drive around, pick up trash for people, toss it, and coach at the same time to make sure I can feed my family. So like, it's that type of grind. I just kept grinding, obviously, until I got to a certain point. And, people will recognize the passion and will recognize that you really are trying to look out for the betterment of the athlete and not just put money in your pocket. And that's when the money comes.
Oh, so you got another question?
Yeah, I definitely do. So, here's another question for you. And in terms of sports performance itself, Coach D, like, how does training and being strong in certain areas or certain muscle groups correlate to when you see certain guys that are explosive tacklers, right, versus weak tacklers,
right,
or when you see certain guys that are devastating blockers, or they make quick cuts and they have awesome acceleration? Like, how is all that wrapped together in a training package, and differences between a high level, medium level, and a lower level type athlete?
Right. Okay. So all those things are different elements, and you got different sports too. And so you got a couple different things. You're talking about a lot of it's God gifted ability, true enough, because a lot of us, we know how we're just born with certain gifts. Okay. But within that, if which a lot of us are, if you're born with gifts, how do we separate those with gifts from the other ones? And the way you do that is obviously Kobe Bryant is a good example. He probably wasn't the most gifted, but definitely one of the hardest working at his skill. So with the gifts that he naturally had, which is height, right? With whatever level of strength, I didn't never get to work with him, so I don't know what his level of strength was, but he worked on those things on top of, because they used to show his workouts at the track, running the whole nine, on top of working on the skill for the game. And so if I get a guy and they're parallel naturally, but my guy trains consistently. He's stacking those bricks. My guy works on peripheral movements. He works on mobility. He works on explosive power. He's born with. My guy more than likely is going to outperform that guy who's naturally talented. And I'm going to give you another example we all just watched. We watched Mike Tyson and we watched Roy Jones, two elite athletes in their day and age at certain times. Right. So we all know they were both gifted athletes. But if you look across the board right now, Mike Tyson is really about that work. Like, you see him really, before they even announced a fight between him and Roy Jones, he was in the gym getting it in, putting in the work. They both got skill patterns and so forth, but he was putting in that extra work, strength conditioning at 50, whatever. And he held back on Roy. We all know that. But you can see you can see the separation. And so if you can see the separation in two men who are about the same age, you also can see those same things happening with kids who are young. You can see that same thing happening with kids in high school. Sometimes those kids might grow a little bit faster, right? You might have somebody who hit that testosterone kicks in early,
Right.
but he doesn't continue to work. A kid might not have that gift yet, but he continue to work. They get to college, that kid separates himself. He might be the one and make it to the league and so forth. So it's a lot of things that fall into that. But when you talk about strength and conditioning, there's so many different areas of improvement that you can get from, again, we're talking posture, all those different things. When I say knowledge of moving in space, not just thinking about it, but being able to put that into action on top of watching film, understanding the game, I'm moving faster, all those things have something to do with it.
Coach,
Got it. So, Coach D, I got one last question.
No, hold on, real quick.
And I'm going to combine it into two.
OC,
Yep.
real quick. I just wanted to get to Douglas' question real quick. Just real quick, because I think
absolutely.
Douglas, really good podcaster. Y'all make sure y'all definitely check him out. He said, how much does have a training camp and preseason prevent injuries? That's a really good question, Douglas.
Yeah. Okay, so that would depend, in my opinion, because I'm not on those teams, I'm not with those coaches, I don't know their program. But I would look across the board and say it has a lot to attribute to what those coaches actually do, whether they be overtraining or undertraining, because you can undertrain, you can overtrain. Are they really hitting all the spectrum?
You gotta remember, you talking to we so green. Look, we green
right,
in your dollar.
I got you.
So like,
all right.
Please slow down just a little bit and expound on
all
that.
right.
I really want you to get into that one for us. Go ahead.
I will. All right, cool. So let me go with the under training for instance, right? So let's just say we got a coach. All he knows is bench, squat, dead. Those guys are pretty strong and so forth. But he knows nothing about what in the industry we call CARs, control articular rotations, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what that means is I'm starting to manipulate the joints in a controlled motion. The athlete himself is doing it actively. And so now we're increasing range of motion. So now when he goes through his movement patterns on the field, when he's making these cuts and so forth, he has more to pull from because he's more mobile versus just trying to use the power that he has, which we see in most NFL running backs who get worn down and so forth. Yeah, they big, they strong, and they can lift the gym and then it's gone. But then you might get somebody who understands the body like these guys do now. And the epitome of that would be LeBron James right now.
Right.
Somebody who understands I'm strong, yeah, but I'm also mobile, and I'm mobile and flexibility are two different things too. So I'm mobile, I'm also flexible, right? I got endurance, I got strength. He's an elite, not basketball player, he's an elite athlete because of all those things that he can pull from. So imagine if football teams adopted that mentality, and now you got strength coaches who are educated enough to actually implement those things. And it's not just a boys club can show up, get your lift and leave. I mean, I've been employed by NFL guys, so I kind of know what goes on sometimes. And I'm not saying there's no good ones, but there has to be something going on. If guys are in the league and they still hire guys like me, that means there's a lack somewhere.
Oh my coach.
Man, powerful points, Coach
Hold
D.
on,
Such powerful points, man. Go ahead. I'm not gonna say. Go ahead, boss Cowboy.
Because you can see the sound knowledge and education that's coming through. Because I'm gonna tell you my experience, Coach D, and then OC, I want you to definitely ask that question that you have for him, if that's okay.
Sure. Yeah.
I'll tell you my experience, Coach D. I had a separated shoulder, okay? And when I was recruited to the University of Houston, one of the main reasons I went there was because of Coach Lott, right? And Coach Lott, when he met with me, he said, Marcus, I know you love football. I also know about your shoulder. He said, if you want your dream to come true to play in the NFL, you should come to U of H. We had the biggest weight room, but on top of that, I know what I'm doing. He said, the biggest thing is I have not had any surgeries except 2 in 4 years. Mm-hmm. So I went and I saw why people didn't have surgeries. He immediately didn't allow me to do bench press and incline and stuff like that and double on bench. Whenever it was time to do those exercises, he would substitute that for a shoulder exercise, which put more muscle on my shoulder. But then he ended up getting promoted to the Jets. his replacement was the second guy in command, he immediately threw me in the bench. He immediately, like you said, the good old boy, go lift the weights, get out of here stuff.
Yeah.
And guess what? I separated the
Injury.
other shoulder.
Yeah,
Can you please talk
exactly.
about that?
Yeah, see, and I don't know exactly what was going on with you as far as physically, but I do, I understand the body. So when you have gross motor skills, fine motor skills, right? And again, I said you have flexibility, you have mobility, those are a couple different things. And a lot of time we come from a culture of just, suck it up, be strong and go. And I get it. You got to have that toughness, right?
Right.
But that's made for certain times. That's made for like actually during the game. Not necessarily in the weight room, you know what I mean? That's probably not a smart thing mindset to have.
Exactly.
If you're in the weight room, it's time. That's the time that you get right. I mean, that's part of your training. So a good training staff, they're going to have maybe a physical therapist, maybe a chiropractor, depending on what they believe in. They might have just an athletic trainer, whatever. You're going to have somebody on staff to deal with those type of issues so that you can get back to peak performance, because that's what it's about. If I injure you, you're no good. I mean, I'm no good to you, right? As a coach, you're no good to me. And so like that it just don't work. So for me, when I think about it on a bigger scale, I think majority of those guys have enough resources that if they actually study and tap into those things, they could produce some of the best athletes. But you got to have the mindset to want to do that, or you're just not going to do it. So.
Oh man,
good stuff, Coach D.
Good
Good stuff.
Question that came from Tony.
Go ahead.
Can she
Go
get
ahead.
this question, Rick? Man, I see.
Go ahead.
Got
Absolutely,
the best freaking questions. Y'all make the show, and I ain't BS. She say, now, Coach D, we want you to potentially work for the Cowboys, so don't shoot them down too bad. I'm sorry.
All right, no, I got you.
Yeah, so, but she had a really good question. I want to get back to it real quick. Tony asked, so do you feel like them boys are getting all they need with the strength and conditioning that they're getting in Texas? What's your thoughts on that, Coach?
My mindset is to judge not before you hear the matter. So I won't judge them because I don't know what they actually do in that weight room. I don't actually know what their therapy programs are like, but I do know across the board in the NFL this year, guys didn't get the training that they normally would. If you didn't have that Ray Lewis, I know he's retired, but we know his mentality. If you didn't have that Ray Lewis mentality, whereas like by any means necessary, I'm getting it in. And then by any means necessary, I'm going to get my recovery. By any means necessary, I'm going to get my nutrition. That was how he lived. That was like, and I would say, especially after, the situation that happened with Ray with the stabbing and so forth, right? Yeah. He got his mind right. Yeah. And then when he came back, it was, he came back, he had his mind right, and he was living the lifestyle that every football player probably should live as far as his training, nutrition, the whole nine. And, there's a lot of guys like that. So I can't speak directly on the Cowboys, but I can say across the board, we know the situation that happened. And if guys were not, which a lot of guys, that's just not what they love doing. They love playing football. They don't necessarily love training, but they love playing football. So they didn't have somebody guiding them, and then, we get the injuries that we see right now.
OC.
Yeah, so last question I got for you, Coach D, and thank you just for fantastic content. And I just want the fans to know, man, we do the best. We bring the best of the best on here for you. So as you can see, with the knowledge, the expertise, and the experience of Coach D, I mean, we're bringing grade A quality to the show, grade A content. So like, share, subscribe, and just support us in any way that you can. But Coach D, here's a question I want to know, and something that I've always thought about, even when I was younger in college and playing the game. If you are prepared and you are physically in shape, right, coming into camp or no camp, right, should you be getting injured quickly if you're actually prepared and in physical shape just because of the contact? Or should you have more durability and more staying power if you show up in proper shape and in condition?
If you show up in shape, I walk those steps. A lot of us who play football, we know what that's like. Right. When you go through that grind and you actually dedicate yourself to getting better, you actually show up physically better. I mean, it's almost impossible not to unless you got some type of gene in your body that won't allow it. But for the most part, when you develop, that's a whole part of the development. If there would be no development, right? There would be no weight training, and if it didn't work, it works. When they start implementing those things and guys started getting bigger, faster, stronger, right? Like what we see right now, they understand that it actually works. So a lot of the injuries, though, because since that's what we've really been talking in, like we said about the patterns, right? So if I have somebody, I got a kid right now, I won't disclose his name. I got a high school kid, highly recruited soccer athlete who just broke his ankle when we just started training because he was released from the doctor. He has certain patterns. The first time that I saw him run, just in a warm-up, I had my wife go talk to his parents, his father, and ask him, which foot did he actually have surgery on, and why is his foot dragged like that? I want to know if it was part of the injury. So his father told my wife, who was also in the industry, she's an athletic trainer, very knowledgeable, 2 master's degrees, 2 bachelor degrees, masters in, man, listen, the girl's brilliant. So I trust her to be able to go talk to my members and bring me back info. So she's talking to the father, and the father tells her he always ran like that. And so I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. So now I see a certain pattern with him. And as we're training, I saw him try to get right back into that pattern, especially when he gets tired. And it's like, I won't mention his name. It's like, hey, Brother M, you need to make sure that you focus on this when you're doing this, because if not, you're going to have the same issue. If not, you're going to injure the other one. Like you mentioned earlier, boss. You one is trying to compensate for the other. So like, if we can't even correct that one, we're going to have injuries somewhere else. Maybe not the other ankle in his situation, but it might be the Achilles next. I don't know. It might be the knee next because the joints are out of line. So being able to see those type of things as a strength and conditioning specialist, you can help an athlete, with his career. Because the question was, should guys show up in shape and so forth? Absolutely, you better if you really want that job. But to have that staying power, though, like you got to pay attention to those type of things.
Coach, I don't want to encroach on your time too much, but they firing questions at you and better questions.
I'm good.
Okay, cool. And y'all make sure y'all look him up too. We go talk about how to do that because he's a DFW person. Before we get to this question, Coach, I want to do one thing because Tony asks how can she subscribe? So it's 2 ways, Tony. We now on Facebook, obviously, but we also now on YouTube. I would say go look us up on both. Go hit the subscribe, hit the bell, just like what you're seeing right now. And then whenever we go live and do shows where we interviewing high caliber coaches like what we dealing with right now, you'll be able to definitely get that notification and continue to follow Boss Cowboy Sports, the OC, and Coach D. So we also on Facebook. And follow these steps, because a lot of people don't follow these steps, so they don't get the notifications. If you want to continue to get the content, follow these steps that you're looking at from the little teaser graphic, and you'll be able to do that. Also share. This is good content. This is going to not only help the Cowboys, because we go tag them and do all that kind of stuff to spread the word, but this could help some people that that might need his services in terms of getting in shape, combine work, and sometimes just being healthy. He covers it all. So, Coach, you got something else on that? On what I just said?
Like you said, we covered it all, man. I got a good team. Yeah, I got a good team. Athletic Zone is the name of my facility here in Dallas, right next to downtown. New development, which they call Trinity Groves. We have coaches across the board that can, pretty much, handle any situation. Even when modifications need to be made when we're dealing with injured athletes. So.
Right. So I want to give you this question real quick, and I have maybe 1 or 2, and then Coach, if you want to hang out and talk ball, you can go kick it with your kids, family. Eat that good old broccoli and cheese, whatever you got going over there. But
yeah, the wife just brought something to him. I'm like, man, you could have brought that 20 minutes ago.
All right, yeah. So I'm gonna make this fast. I know how to take a clue, Coach. All right, check this out. Coach, what is your approach athletes that listen to their minds over listen to their bodies? I see too many high school and college. I guess he didn't finish his question, but I kind
of know where you're going.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of see what he's saying. What's your approach as far as listening to your body? You're always supposed to listen to your body. But then once you listen to your body, what do you do? Like, who do you go to? Because a lot of athletes, they might feel something and they don't want to seem weak or whatever the case may be. And so a lot of times, I went to a high school where it was one of those suck it up high school. Did it make me mentally tough? Yeah, but I also went to college with a busted up knee already. I had a fractured kneecap and didn't even know it, that I played through it. So things like that. I knew it hurt, but I knew, okay, I'll make it through it. So sometimes it just, depend on your situation. circumstances, resources. Yeah, absolutely listen to your body. You know, in the situation I mentioned with my knee, I had a coach. I told him, "Hey, coach, I'm gonna play, but my knee hurt." We had a playoff game coming up against Friendship High School, right? Kendall Browse, I know his father and so forth, coached at Baylor. And so, they were a hard duo to beat. So I'm like, I'm gonna give him my all, but I let the coach know. So what did he do? He put some red clay on my knee. It helped with inflammation, but I got a fractured kneecap in here, not knowing it. But I just, followed suit and went to play. So yeah, I listened to my body, but then my resources at that time went as far as red clay, right? I need to talk to somebody who had the understanding, the knowledge, and so forth to actually help me.
Yeah, I know you got OE, so I have 2 questions, but I'm actually one. I'm gonna be real courteous.
Oh no, go ahead. I'm good. I promise you, I'm good.
Okay, so on your fractured knee, you obviously have the educational training and the experience. You went through multiple internships with some of the best universities in the country, not even just Texas, SMU and TCU are great schools. We all know that. But you also have experience of rehabbing and trying to get back on the field. Can you kind of talk about that aspect of it as well, mixing that knowledge of going through a knee and still maintaining your athleticism? Can you kind of talk about that?
So you just hit it on. Yeah, that's the nail in the coffin right there, because that's what changed my perspective. Because when I went to college, initially I was a technology management major because I always had that type of mind.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like that was my initial major. Loved it. But when I tore my ACL, it made it harder for me to like get certain things done within that world. So I transitioned into the kinesics world. I just took some of that scientific knowledge that I already had, transferred it from, buildings and architects to the body. And so then going through that process of understanding actually what the ACL was, now I'm really learning, what muscles do, why muscles attach to tendons, what tendons actually do, right? Learning the different tissues, all this type of stuff, all the levels that they teach you. I started learning these things, and that helped me understand my body even more. And so as an athlete, you start to see your muscles, right? You start to feel a certain type of way, but internally, when you start to understand certain things, now you know how to approach, right, certain situations. So the reason why I had surgery was because I had that fractured kneecap. If you know how the body works, tendons have to attach to something. That kneecap is there for a reason, right? So when I tore my ACL, it was a non-contact injury, planted the same way I had been planted. Every time I would try to stop from either hitting somebody or whatever the case is, right, or stop from getting hit, it's the same exact motion. But without that support of the kneecap and the tendon attached to it, I had no shot. Didn't know it, but I had no shot at doing that over and over again. So my sophomore year in college, tore my ACL. Like I said, no contact, and that's when I really started diving in, going through the rehab process. Started understanding how long it takes bones to heal, which bones sometimes heal quicker if you just leave them alone, and all type of stuff. I started learning all type of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. So that knowledge helped me. So now when I deal with athletes, it's not sympathy, it's empathy, meaning I've been in your shoes. I understand what you're going through.
Right.
Right. So let's go through the process to get you back. You'll know when you're back.
So Tony, I know Tony has a question, boss, but let me jump in and ask something real quick that will be related to players, right? Like a player on the team, and I'll just name them just because I'm an offensive lineman. I'm a big fan of offensive linemen. I love the position. I love the technique. So let's say, as an example, we got Tyron Smith. To me, Hall of Famer, or at least pretty close, left tackle for the Cowboys for more than the last decade. And so since 2016, he's had a myriad of injuries, right? From struggling with his back to, this year his neck to different things, right? What would be your strategy to get a player up to 100% that's dealt with consecutive injuries? And if you can speak to it, Coach D, because I know it does, how does that kinetic chain relate to having all of a sudden that back injury, and then now you got a hip injury,
right,
and then you got a hamstring, now you got a neck injury, and then lastly, and I'm asking you 3 questions in one.
Golly, OC, Jesus, man, the man got to eat.
I know he got to eat, but this is going to be quick, though. And Coach D, my man. This is Coach D, my man. So, look, when would you say, from a sports performance perspective, that, man, your body's taking a beating, right? This is going to affect your future quality of life. Enough is enough. And so that's it. That's all I got. I was 3-1, Coach, but you can answer those in short version.
Right.
But I just want to get that out for the
Tony,
fans.
man.
And just
I
for
mean,
good
you
knowledge.
not only skip Tony, you skip Tony and then put that like in the Rosa Parks seats, man. Come on. I'm messing with you. Go ahead, Coach.
All right, so hopefully I get each question. So dealing with the body and the kinetic chain, the body is connected, right? The body's connected in many ways. And I don't know the extent of his particular injuries, but yes, the body will try to compensate. And when it's trying to compensate, especially in a dynamic sport like football, right? You just putting yourself out there against, grown men who have no regard for your health. They doing this to get paid. He's offensive lineman, so he's stopping guys from getting to the most important guy on the field. Though, that's a lot of stuff that's going on. So now if his ankle is hurt, of course, when you look at the body, it has a certain alignment, right? The anatomy is made to be in line a certain type of way. So if the ankle is off, that's going to trickle up to maybe the knee if, it's depending on how far off it is. Or maybe the knee might not be affected, but maybe now it's the hip, right? And then if you're talking about anything with the distal part of your body or with the lower half of your body, then you start talking about your back and how that's going to affect your back and your body posture, position. I mean, again, we're talking about football. He's not just working at a job where he can just, sit down, chill, relax, and just kind of live life. He's in the most brutal sport that we have other than, fight sports. So for him, again, I don't know the extent of his injuries, but if I was his advisor, I would look at his diet. I would look at off-season programming. I would look at any type of corrective movements we could do to help him. And I would treat him like a patient versus an athlete, right? So break him down, treat him like a patient, and try to nurse him or rehab him back to his top performance. And you have to start with your foundation, which football is going to be your feet. That's what you start with. And so if we have an issue there, which you're talking about ankle and so forth, then we already know we need to attack that. It might be limited range of motion in the ankle, which is why we have whatever the other injury was. Apologize for that text. So there's certain things. Give me a second. I got people texting me right now. All right. So, just depending on what that injury is, what comes of it, again, lack of mobility, or is it a muscle issue? In basketball players, calf muscles are always tight. They wonder why do football players have knee injuries? Why do basketball players have Achilles injuries? Well, when you understand the anatomy, if the calf muscle is tight, the next thing to go is going to be the Achilles. Why? Because the calf muscle is supposed to be the primary mover for a plantar position. And so now if that calf muscle is tight, which a lot of those guys are, the Achilles is going to take on the blow of it. And so, just understanding the body, if you can learn, whoever's training these guys or physical therapists that they go to or whatever, they know the human body. They know how to help those guys, but they got to be willing to, like, I forgot his name earlier in the question, said listening to your body. So that they have the resources to go get the help. It's going to be up to them to actually go get that help. I think I answered the questions. If I didn't, there might have been one more.
You went right to Tony. And Tony, listen. Boy, listen, we supposed to be talking about the Cowboys. And my lady Tony, she come
my bad, y'all.
No, you good. I'm getting on.
No, you good, Coach.
Tony come over here talking about my son. Tony, I ain't mad at you. Tony, like, when I'm talking to somebody with a master's degree, I'm going to ask my question. I ain't mad at you, Tony. Listen, that's how I go. Get you some free consulting. I would too.
Yeah.
Now, and we answered it too, so you remember that. Tony. Now, Coach, this is what I'm taking from this, and I'm going to respect your time greatly. And I know you've been very courteous going over time with us. What I'm taking from this is you can be proactive to prevent injuries.
Right, especially when we talk about chronic.
We're interested in. And I'm looking at the chat, man. They going off on you. There's so many people thanking you and loving you right now, and just
appreciate y'all. I really appreciate y'all. I appreciate it, man. But yes, you can do certain things to prevent chronic injuries. We talk about acute injuries. Again, we're talking about if a guy catch the ball, midair and get hit in the back, or we've seen somebody being paralyzed like that in the league. Things like that, that's just part of the nature of the game. And some of those injuries you can't avoid, Right. That's that part. But when we're talking about chronic injuries, yes, you can typically avoid those if you get to the movement patterns early enough in an athlete's life and teach them so that they understand what long-term athletic development really is. Which if you're not teaching them, you're really not helping them. And I used to not understand that until I actually got into the field. When I left college, I was like, okay, now it's time for me to start training. As a trainer, you go get a job maybe at Lifetime, 24-hour fitness or whatever, and it's all about upselling and making money. And somebody like me, I'm like, I can't live a life like that. I need to actually teach these people. You want me to just to sit there, train them, bring them in, not really, believe it or not, I know it's the training industry. A lot of those guys are milking the clock with those clients. They just want to keep them attached to them. And me, I'm more like, no, let's teach them. If they don't stay with me for 2-3 years because I taught them, okay, that's good. That means we did a good job. They're going to spread the word. I get somebody else. That person can go live their life and so forth. But not everybody approaches it like that. But yeah, man, like I said, for me, it's about, can I teach the athlete long-term athletic development? Can I help build those building blocks in the beginning? And then can you carry that on to the rest of your life too? Yes, help you avoid injury, but to live a good life too, though.
Coach, thank you so much. One of my guys said, I never get a chance, Marcus said this, I never get a chance to watch the whole thing, but I always watch later. Please tell everybody where they can find you, your specialties, and how to support you.
Athletic Zone 214 across all social media platforms, located in Dallas, Texas, 423 Singleton Boulevard in the 75212 area code. Like I said, right outside of Dallas, we do offer adult fitness, which is probably like the main thing that we do, because obviously combine is seasonal, sports seasonal, athletes come and they go. So all year long, I mean, it's Athletic Zone, but the people that come used to play sports, or had a child that played sports, and that's how they get introduced to fitness. And we have a wide range of people who walk through the door. So we help a lot of people.
All right, Coach. Well, go eat. We go talk some ball.
Go eat, Coach.
And then I'm gonna send you.
All right.
For PR purposes or whatever you want to do with it. But we go also send this out to as many people as possible to continue to spread the word, because we have a pretty good voice. Our fans have a voice, and a lot of insiders, go to the podcast world to even get ideas. So we're going to continue to push this, because this is like the number one issue. It's kind of clear as wine. And I'm going to be super lobbyist this whole off season. I want all you guys to get a raise, because it don't make no sense to me, Coach, before you leave.
Yeah.
It don't make no sense to me when there's no salary cap on training these guys.
Right.
That you don't invest heavily into it, because they got all these ancient sayings that we all know. Stuff like, the best ability is what? Availability. Well, invest into it. Like, go get you some Coach D's. Go get you some Coach D's. Go get you 50 Coach D's and pair them.
Yeah.
And I really mean this too. I'm not even joking at all.
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense to say, okay, with this particular guy, I want to pay Coach D, I'm gonna just throw out a number, $400,000 to work with these 4 guys for the year to keep them on the field. It should be way more than that. Can I ask you one more question real quick? Just real quick. It just hit my head, but it's super important to me. Because I have a gut feeling. I think a lot of you guys get hated on. I think there's a particular, I think it's politics in football that prevent y'all from being compensated. Where y'all viewed as competitors to the strength and conditioning coaches on staff. So most wouldn't probably want to endorse an outsider to come in and be the specialist, but a team would have to think outside the box to say, we're going to get out our way to keep our, go ahead.
Yeah, so the way and it's crazy that they would think like that is because if you look at the structure of a football team, you have your head guy, but he doesn't coach every position. So if you have a head strength and conditioning coach, he doesn't have to necessarily coach, because a quarterback is not going to lift like a lineman. A lineman's not going to lift like a receiver. Like, they have different jobs. They need different modalities, right? And they're even dealing with, like, again, the movement patterns in the game. They need to have certain things when it comes to mobility that each one of them need to work on separately. So, yeah, why wouldn't you have a coach that specializes in this and that and that? I'm the head coach. Okay, cool. But this is my staff. These are my guys. He handles this area. He handles this area, and so forth. It's logical and it makes sense, but they've been getting away with not doing it. Hey, we got guys coming in every year. The draft is coming. You didn't make it. You made your 4-year, stint. All right, out with the old and with the new.
Coach, Thank you so much. We go definitely do this again. I'm gonna shoot this video to you. Y'all definitely say thank you, Coach. Y'all send him a shout out where you from and all that stuff. And Coach, we go definitely hang out some more and talk some football next time.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. This is
Thank
a
you.
great show, great platform, man. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate the fans that y'all have to take the time to listen to me. Hopefully, I added some value to your lives in one way, form, or another.
All right, Coach, we'll wrap.
Thank you, Coach. We'll be in touch.
All right. All right.
All right.
OC, it's on me and you now. Game time, baby. So
Yes, sir.
he killed that, obviously.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Look what Tony said. I love it. She said, yes, accident-prone guys need personal, separate care for real. See?
That's true. Common sense, right? Common sense.
And like OC, I played with the OC, like we was teammates, like literally. He had his coach, I had my coach. Why can't they do that in strength and conditioning? Why can't they be
Smart.
like, Marcus, you had shoulder issues, so you work with this guy? Yes, it's gonna cost your team
Right.
more, but like Tony said,
Right.
yes, accident-prone guys need personal, separate care for real. We talking about investing into a Super Bowl, man. That just makes sense to me. And then and another thing, I would say, let's just recall our experience, OC. Now, when we was practicing football, we always saw all of our head coaches, didn't we?
Correct.
But when we was working out, we hardly ever saw them. You ever notice that?
Correct.
And not
Correct.
only did we not see our head coach is plural, we didn't see our immediate coaches until it was time to work us out. When they took us through those crazy drills, that's when we would see them. I'm telling you, man, I'm certain that the most important coach is not valued. You got a comment on that?
Yeah, I think that, Coach D drops the point home so magnificently that you got to have specialized approaches to each position. That's how you're going to maximize your assets in terms of players, and that's how you're also going to protect these guys so that you can reach the highest levels of performance. And so individual performance leads to team performance. And so to break it down and to have silos, right, where you train each guy's specific to their function in the game is what's going to really take the program to the next level. And invest in that like you invest in marketing dollars as a team, as an NFL team. Invest in that like you invest in facilities, right? Because your number one capital for the product that's going to make you money is your players.
Right.
That's your number one capital piece in terms of your product that you're going to produce on that field.
Right. And the OC and I are not being arrogant. We not acting like we smarter than Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones and Will McClay. Listen, they all way smarter than us on a lot of different areas. We just throwing out ideas that maybe might get in the building and might cause some positive change. It's just, it's not spitballing because we bringing on educated people. But at the same time, we just kind of doing an experiment to think outside the box to say, okay, look, we know that the real issue this year wasn't even just Mike Nolan. It was the fact that people that never get injured was injured, man. It's crazy. Zach Martin never missed a game, bro. Dak was third all-time in SEC snaps. That's amazing. As rich as the history of the SEC, that guy never missed a game, and he's out. And it was epic. So the guy right here, Dr. Devono Norton, I invited him on the show. He deals with the guys after they're injured. So eventually we go schedule him on the show because that's a different perspective. Because he dealing with how to get you back. Because we had a slight debate. But I was like, Coach, Doctor, I don't never want them to see you. I don't want my players to ever walk into your office. But he said that he has some great perspective, Doctor, so we're going to definitely talk about that. We're going to attack this from a lot of different angles. So last week we attacked this from strength with Blue. With Coach D, we attacked it from a lot of other different areas as well. So we go bring in what happens when they get injured. We go also bring in what happens to get them back, that's when you're gonna talk to Dr. Norton. We go talk to health nutritionists. I mean, this might sound kind of boring, technical. No, it's not rumors and drama. It's just old solution talk. Solution talk. Hey, but this is what the show is about. We trying to win 6. So if we identified an issue, man, we attacking it on this show. We not trying to just entertain you. We trying to win. Oh, see, I'm gonna change the subject real quick, man. Before I do, y'all make sure y'all follow us, okay? I would greatly appreciate that. Just some good old following, because we also now have expanded to where we are on YouTube. So YouTube is a newer channel, so we're gonna need all our Facebook friends and family to go over there and hit that like and subscribe to get our numbers up over there. And then we go start doing it like this. I'm telling you, we go stop going live on Facebook. We go just start going live on YouTube every now and then, just to make sure you keep me y'all honest. No, really though, make sure y'all go over there and hit those buttons and subscribe, and also hit the Facebook like and follow and subscribe, as well as a share. But we go change the subject. We go talking to some ball now. Ball time. Ball. Y'all stay with us. We ain't gonna go too crazy. But it's time to talk a little bit of ball. So, first thing we gonna talk about is obviously the Cowboys on the bubble, man. In a good way. So, meaning they're in a bubble of being able to get in the playoffs. We both have been on record on one to lose. OC, I'm starting to change, man. I'm starting to change.
Starting to change?
I'm starting to change.
Starting to change?
I'm going to talk to you about it, too.
Okay, listen.
Because, see, first, I don't want to be this guy. I don't want to be this guy, man.
No, not with the bucket of chicken on his head.
No, and I don't want to be this guy, bro.
Oh,
I don't want to be King Kool-Aid, man.
Oh.
I don't want to drink
he's
the Kool-Aid, my
Kool-Aid.
brother. I really don't, bro. I want to just be honest. My boy DA in the house. What's up, baby? See you, my brother. Yeah, but
So, Boss Cowboy, listen.
yes,
let me jump right in.
Talk to
all right?
me. Yes.
So listen, this, and I was thinking this week, and I'm glad we got a chance to talk about this live.
Let's talk
because
about it.
this is why the Cowboys really could catch fire in these playoffs. Okay,
Oh,
they
no,
actually
hold
could
on,
win this
hold on,
freaking
hold
game
on, hold
and
on.
catch. I'm gonna tell
Are
you
you
why.
doing
Wait a
this
second.
right here?
I'm gonna tell you. You gotta listen to the logic.
Are
I'm gonna
you
tell
drinking?
you why.
Oh,
I'm gonna tell you why.
all right, talk to me.
History, Boss Cowboy.
All right.
History, Boss Cowboy is on my side. History is on my side.
Now you said
And let me
get
tell you
hot
why.
because it sounded you talking crazy right now.
They could get hot. I'm
Hot
gonna tell
like what?
you. They could
Hold
get
on.
hot.
Hot
could get-
meaning what? Talk to me, man. I need to understand what you mean by hot.
And actually win a freaking playoff game or more.
Oh.
Okay, that's what I mean when I say get
All right,
hot.
Okay, so we
No,
go-
listen.
No, I
Listen.
agree with that, but I ain't talking about no winning playoffs, bro. That Kool-Aid I ain't drinking, bro. I know we can
Okay.
maybe win
Okay.
a game, maybe.
Listen.
But
listen,
hold on,
boss.
OC, because I want to fight you today. You now you jumping on my team.
Fight
I
me.
ain't like that. But listen,
Come on. I'm gonna tell you.
read the right side real quick, and then you argue with
Listen,
yourself.
I read the Cowboys' path to Super Bowl #6. They gotta beat the Giants. I don't think that's too big of an ask. Okay,
That's
they
not
can
too
beat the
big.
Giants.
But keep going.
Have the Eagles beat Washington. That's very plausible. Beat Tom Brady. It's one and done. Anything could happen. They could beat Tom Brady. Is it as likely? No, but they could do it. Okay, and I think they have a chance to.
Tom
And I'll tell
Brady's
you why.
possible.
Okay?
I agree with that. Okay, go. But keep going.
Beat Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. That's a much harder. That's much
Oh,
harder.
see, you been
That's
all
much
nice. It's much harder.
That's much
Man,
harder.
You know what's gonna happen.
Listen, okay. Listen. That's much harder. Okay, listen. Beat Drew Brees in New Orleans in an NFC championship game. Okay, almost near impossible. Okay, almost near impossible. And beat Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Okay, that's not gonna happen. Okay, I give up.
I
Okay?
mean, listen. Like we
That's not
saying,
gonna happen.
like We know there's a chance, a 0.00001 chance. But
There's
listen,
a
man,
chance. I'm gonna tell you
I'm
why.
just saying it's a chance. All right, look.
Let me tell you why.
I mean, cause
Let me tell you why.
go ahead, bro. Please talk to me, cause you got me rolling,
Let-
man. Cause hold on,
Listen,
real
I'm
quick,
gonna-
bro. Hold on. I think you over here, bro. I think you having a sip, and I think in
No.
that sip is some vodka. Cause brother, I've never.
No.
You've 180 though. I didn't 180. I kind of 90. I didn't just fully turn around.
No. I'm not 180. I'm like 120.
Wow,
I'm
that's
120.
too far, man. Oh my god.
I'm gonna tell you why. History is on my side, boss Cowboy. History is on my side.
Okay. I'm gonna let you
Okay.
talk. Keep going.
Okay. Listen, the Cowboys are on a winning streak. The Cowboys are doing what the Cowboys have historically never done underneath Jason Garrett, which is why initially I love the hire of Mike McCarthy. They never have played well in December. Correct? Historically, they have not.
Historically,
Okay. So now,
with a few
historically,
exceptions.
they have not.
Few exceptions. 2014
Okay,
is
historically,
exception.
with a very few exceptions, boss Cowboy. For the most part, they haven't played well in December. They haven't had winning records in December. Let me quantify it even more. They haven't historically had winning records in December. Mike McCarthy, up until 2017, he has had winning records in December coaching with the Green Bay Packers. What does that tell me about Coach Mike McCarthy? He gets better and he's a good finisher historically. Now, save you his last couple seasons in Green Bay where he didn't make the playoffs. I'm throwing those out. But historically, up until that point, listen, Mike McCarthy was 22-3 at home in December. Okay, Mike McCarthy was 35-13 in his coaching career. In his coaching career in December.
Yeah, man.
So listen, I'm saying to you that historically, as a coach and as a pattern, Mike McCarthy's teams have got better going into the playoffs. And that momentum can carry you to at least a victory. Do the Cowboys make the Super Bowl, in my opinion? No, they don't.
Why
they
are
don't.
You talking about it,
but
then?
anything
Listen,
can happen.
That's the goal is the Super Bowl with Boss Cowboy.
Of course.
That's the
Of course.
I care about December as long as it's giving me momentum for a likely Super Bowl. So anyway,
look back at history, boss Cowboy, and I'm gonna cut you off for a second. Look back at history, boss.
No. I agree with the history that December Mike McCarthy get hot. I agree, but I'm gonna tell you why I'm getting on the. I'm gonna say it more like this. I'm on the. I was on want to lose, okay, and very clear on that. I don't apologize about it either. The reason being, because we got some new people that's listening, I want them to really understand where I was coming from doing that. So first, just take a kind of look at the board a little bit. So we go kind of play with it a little bit. So there was a time where we were sitting around 3 or 4, okay? Before we played the Bengals and then before we played San Fran. Ideally, that was a situation when I was imagining the 3 quarterbacks that's been hyped right now, Fields, Lawrence, and my BYU quarterback. I don't know why his name just skipped my brain like that. But anyway, everybody know what I'm talking about. They are greatly being hyped right now. So the OC and I had a plan to try to get a ring, but through delayed gratification. Okay, meaning I'd rather sacrifice this year to load up with Dak than to believe in Andy Dalton to take us all the way. Because everybody that's fighting over whether we win now or win later, we still got the same goal in mind. Some of us just disagreed on how to get there. But when I look at just where we are now, OC, sitting around 11, a lot of us understand that really at this point, especially looking at the draft talent that's sitting there, it really changes your goals at this point. And so I'm not in it, nor are you, on trying to be right. Like, we not in this to we want to lose because we said no. It's about
Right.
now the whole chessboard is different. We're at 11 now where we was at 4. That requires a different strategy now. And so the strategy now changes to me, OC, in my opinion, you know, talk me off a cliff if you think I'm tripping. This is why I said I'm starting to get off of that want to lose. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I'm out now, man. Is Jimmy Johnson, and you know I've been quoting that for the last 4 weeks, Jimmy Johnson team building philosophies. I believe he's one of the smartest team builders of all time, right?
Yep.
He also said this, so if I'm gonna quote him, I have to quote him also accurately, where he said, it's not about the amount of picks, it's about getting the pick right. So where we was sitting around 3 or 4, you had a vision of Sewell. I had the tackle. Some people don't know who that is. OC sees him as a no-miss 10-year tackle that would pretty much set up your franchise for the next 10 years. We both felt that a 10-year quality tackle like that was worth the sacrifice of Andy Dalton's season. I did too. I felt the same way on Chase. Now check me out. My comp on Chase, you might laugh, but I mean this, is a Sterling Sharp. Especially coming into the number 3 receiver spot. I could imagine him with his body type, his body build, because people, that's the part of Chase that they don't really talk about, is his running back build with all the great receiving talent that he has. That's Sterling Sharp, where you throw a screen to him on a 3rd and 1, and that's first down. He's going to bully the corner, guaranteed. So OC and I was like eyeing like special talent that we was like, man, Andy Dalton, I'm sorry, bro. And we was honest with the fans. We wasn't trying to play Kate and kiss butt, because we was in the minority in that opinion. But we felt both that it was the best way forward for a potential at 6 from 2021 and on. So now at 11, even if we get in the playoffs and go to 19, get the player right. You see what I'm saying? Just get the player right. And then I would take all the gains that come with making the playoffs, because there are some. Like we talked about this, and maybe you first talk. Well, let me say this. Like getting experience for our B team players, which I think is exponentially important. So given where we are now, I'm no longer team want to lose. I'm cool with getting in. I'm like, get in, and I'm going to still be positive about it. I'm not going to be like, if we would have lost against the Bengals. No, we're here now. So since we're here, this chessboard is like this now. So is the new strategy going forward, which is get in and get that pick right. Do you think I'm tripping, man?
No, I don't think you're tripping. The only thing I'll add to that is this. I mean, listen, if you're going to go with the Chase pick, I mean, here's the deal. He makes sense as that pick, right? If you win the game and you're going to slide down, you know, somewhere between 16 and 20 at that point. Right. So he makes sense if you plan on parting ways with Michael Gallup, right? Chase doesn't make sense as a pick unless you plan on parting ways with Michael Gallup. If you want to sign Michael Gallup, you don't utilize that pick, because to me, you don't have a receiver problem at this point. You got many other problems that you need to address on this football team. An alternative strategy to that top 16 to 20 pick would be to get value and get a couple draft picks in the early 2nd round for somebody who really wanted a player in that position. That makes sense for the accumulation of picks at the top 2 to 3 rounds of the draft, which you're always going to get quality, you're always going to get depth, and you're always going to get a lot of competition. So that's the only thing I would say to what you said.
Man, so, I mean, see, this is one thing I want y'all to know about us on this show. We not on here trying to be right. That's not the spirit of this show. We really want what's best for the Cowboys. And you're going to see us occasionally adapt unapologetically about it. Because when things change, so should we. If we see growth, we're going to acknowledge it. If we see a decline, we're going to acknowledge that. But we're here to solve problems. And I want to say one more thing, too, just on the topic. On the topic, OC, we got some good news, brother, to where we still in a raid position. And we gonna talk about football. But we walking and chewing bubble gum right now, meaning we looking forward and we looking at now. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. We're not saying we're done with the season, but I'm also looking, eyeballing how to build. So, your thoughts on this, OC? He said he comes from a program where they have a history of developing players at his position where they would be successful at the next level. He said they don't. And that was Desmond Howard and Justin Fields. And Todd McShay dropped him to 9. So give me your thoughts on that first, and then let's go back and forth on what that means to us.
Yeah, listen, Justin Fields is a tremendous athlete. He can throw the football well. Obviously, he can run. He does miss some throws that you want to see him make, and he's not quite as consistent as you want to see him be. But physically and arm talent, he's one of the best in this year's draft. Probably one of the best physically and athletically gifted players in the last probably couple years. It doesn't have the elite top end speed that Lamar Jackson would have. But he's fast, he's strong, really proficient. I think that there's some truth to what Desmond Howard said, if I'm being honest, okay? Dwayne Haskins, he was just cut by the Redskins. He was just cut, okay? And you have several other players that...
Just give me 1 second, okay? 1 second.
Sure.
What you say? Because that was some straight BS.
I said there's some truth to what Desmond Howard said.
There's no truth in what he said.
I repeat slowly. It is some truth to what Desmond Howard said.
A little bit of truth, but it is
like some 90%
truth lie.
That it is not a lie because said,
man. I'll let you finish.
No, listen.
Kill you for this.
Yes, okay. Please let me finish. Okay, Dwayne Haskins, he was cut by the Redskins. Who do we have before that? Had Cordell Reynolds, big, powerful athlete, right? End up getting cut, and it is some politics associated with him getting cut, Boss Cowboy. So I'm gonna take that part of the argument away from you. Cordell Reynolds ends up playing in the XFL, but because of discipline issues, he gets cut off the XFL. Okay, then you have what's the other kid that got converted to a wide receiver with the Texans. He was a quarterback, led them to a couple national championship games. He's not playing quarterback. So the over-under the last several years of success of Ohio State quarterbacks in the NFL has not been there. Now, for whatever reason you want to say that they haven't been successful, politics, this, that, or the other, the fact is you don't see Ohio State quarterbacks, although they're fantastic athletes and show great upside, you don't see these guys start in the NFL. You really don't. And so that's why there's some definite truth and something to what Desmond Howard said. Hit the buttons all you want, brother. Hit the buttons all you want.
All right. It's some truth, but it's so whack, because that is one of the silliest ways to judge quarterback talent, and it's so inconsistent to how they judge quarterbacks in the past. Let me ask you a question. Who out of Cal at quarterback balled? Thank you.
You mean University of California?
And he was the first pick. Yes, Cal. Who out of...
Oh, you also got Aaron Rodgers. He came out of Cal.
Yeah, but that's...
Come on now.
Talking about
Those are two good starters.
Years out of a system. So he... Like, you don't blame a school for a quarterback. That's one of the stupidest arguments in the world, bro, to me. Because... And it's inconsistent. Like, it is some truth to it. So I'm not really... fighting you when I hit the
But Cal is not a powerhouse program, though. You're not comparing apples to apples.
You don't judge quarterbacks based on programs. You judge them based on the talent that they have.
Okay.
Because then that should also apply to my BYU quarterback. That should have also applied to Sam Darnold. That should have definitely applied to Allen. None of that applied to them, but they look at Fields and say, your school is why we don't like you. That's crazy. But I take
But
it.
you also got to keep.
I'll
But you
take
also
it,
got to
though.
keep in mind though. No, but listen, Boss Cowboy, you also got to keep in mind too that Desmond Howard is a Michigan man. He bleeds blue.
That's what I'm saying.
So
that's why I was shooting at that.
there-
Like, bro, it made no sense. Like, that's
Yeah.
all. It's not even fighting you. It's
Yeah.
more so fighting that thought. Like, but I'm happy for it. Cause see, when I go back to this, the point is this. The more he drops, or any one of those quarterback drops, the better for Dallas. Because that's the whole reason why the OC and I was so heavy on wanting to lose, because we were saying we want to raid teams and get a lot of picks to put on a good team that's already good on paper. That's the whole plan, right? So the good news with him dropping, potentially, I take it, whether it's fair or not, right? I still take it. The issue is we still got that chance, OC, and we didn't have to lose games for it. You see what I'm saying? We
That's
still
true.
got that
That's
chance
real,
to accomplish
real
the
true.
goal that me and you want, which is now even better, which to a degree can make us say we was wrong, right? Because we still winning, and we still could potentially be in a place to get a team that wants to move up for him. And like, for instance, Mahomes, they moved up to around, what, 7 or 10 for him? They moved up for
Somewhere
Watson
in there.
around 10. So we still, OC, just as the season is winding down, looking like we still might accomplish what we want without giving up no L's. But that
That's
would
true.
mean we would have to
That's true.
lose if we want to stay around 10.
That's true. That's true too.
So
That's
I mean,
true too.
I mean, but like, that's just my thoughts on kind of like everything that's starting to break. I want to change the subject to one more thing, just real quick. No, let's take, because they going crazy and they put some good stuff out here, man. Hold on. I'm gonna throw this at you.
Let's see what they got.
I'm gonna throw this at you. You take this one. This is a nice curveball too, and then we'll finish out the show. Just my opinion, but can't count on Dak until he's under contract. Don't trust Stephen Jones. Maybe early, but thoughts on another tag. Go.
Yeah, William. I mean, I don't know what you mean when you say you can't count on Dak until he's under contract. No, you could count on Dak.
No.
You
He
can count
not
on
saying
Dak and you-
performance. He's saying, like, don't count them. It's almost saying don't count your eggs before, you know what I'm saying. before they
Yeah, but I mean, here's the deal, man. The Cowboys are not stupid. They might be stubborn, but they're not stupid. Stupid would be to let Dak Prescott walk. Stubborn is to hash him out and try to get him over a barrel in a public eye and make him look greedy and depreciate his value because he had an injury, even though he was on a pace to break every record known to man in the NFL. So no. They're going to franchise him again before they let him walk. But the smart thing for them to do, which is what they should do sometime as we get toward the summer of 2021, is sign Dak to a long-term extension. If they're not able to do that, you may see a trade with Dak with different picks, right? But to me, I think they're going to try to sign him to a long-term deal. If that doesn't work, they're going to franchise him again, man. They're not letting Dak Prescott walk for nothing. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, man, that's well said. Well, let me also kind of tackle this too, because that's a good thought, man. Great thought, William. And y'all leading the show right now in terms of good content. Let me say this. The key dates to look for is the tag deadline. That's going to tell you everything you need to know, in my opinion. Because I think you're right. You don't count your eggs before they hatch type of deal. I agree with you, man, because we've been so funny. We the type of team where, what if a coach won two Super Bowls? Surely you wouldn't fire him. Yeah, we would. Yeah, we would. So we all have reason to be paranoid, and I agree with you. But at the same time, if we want to read the tea leaves, it's about knowing the definition of the tags and how they apply. So if they put an exclusive tag on Dak, they not gonna let him go. So you got to know what it means. So an exclusive tag, I'm not saying you don't, but I'm gonna just explain this to everybody that's listening. So with an exclusive tag, the player cannot shop. He can't. He's still tied down to the team. He can't go anywhere, right? That's with the exclusive tag. So I always say this analogy kind of like this. You can talk all you want about your wife and act like she's not hot, but you know when you know you got a really hot wife when you feel uncomfortable when she get dolled up and getting ready to go out with her girlfriends. That's how the exclusive tag is. You keeping your lady in the house. The non-exclusive tag is to where you think you quite the player. You think you all of that, and I'm just giving you a metaphor about it. You think you all of that to the point to where you'll let your lady go out and shop because she go definitely come back to you because you're such a good guy. But how the non-exclusive works is this. You get the first rights of refusal. So Dak would be able to go out there and shop around, talk to different teams, and then if he likes it and they give him an offer, which a lot of teams would, Dallas then gets a chance to match whatever it is. If they say no, we not matching that, then that team got to give Dallas 2 first rounders. So if they put a non-exclusive tag on Dak, that mean they really serious about letting him go. And they're interested in those first round picks. They're very interested in it because a team will be willing to give 2 firsts easily for Dak. Remember, Tunsil easily. Now, some of my fans don't believe that, but it would be a team would do it quick. 2 firsts in a heartbeat.
You don't understand.
Go ahead.
A heartbeat. No, I was just saying you don't understand the value of the quarterback position and how hard it is to find a consistent starter that can produce and make the throws and that's mobile. If you don't think a team is one of these teams that we can even put a list of teams up, one of these teams in the draft order, like you don't think they will give 2 first rounds for Dak Prescott?
Oh no, easily.
No, they'll give 2 first round picks.
Look who they go ahead, OC.
No, I'm saying, my point was done. They're going to give it up quickly, and here's the deal. They're not going to do that. They're going to give, to Ken's point, right? They're not going to do that. They're going to put an exclusive tag on them because they don't want to have to match a ridiculous contract because somebody's going to open up the bank vault and give Dak Prescott a ridiculous amount of money. That's all they're going to do. And then they're going to say, okay, great. We know you're not going to match us because you're too stingy, right? And so here, we'll give you our first 2 rounders. So what? Because it's a bad team or it's a mediocre team. So our last 2 round picks didn't even work out anyway. We're about to cut these guys anyway. Fine. Take our first 2 round picks, our next first round picks, and then go ahead and we'll take Dak Prescott.
Man, listen to this coming, man. This dude, DA. This dude say easy. The Washington whatchamacallits. Or watch it like a hawk for Dak. Straight up. Like, Tunsil went for 2
all
firsts.
Day.
Tunsil. Ramsey went for 2 firsts. You don't think a quarterback that was on a 6,600 yard pace? So, I do agree with Ken as well. I think Jerry is too smart to do that. But at the same time, I'm still looking at the tag deadline date as that's when I'm going to kick my feet up and really know the full motives of the front office. Because I always reserve, honestly, I'm just being honest, I reserve the opportunity for the Joneses to horribly surprise me. You know what I mean? And the controversy, because I'm still of the opinion that they don't care about Super Bowls like they used to. They more so running a business. They care, but I don't think they care like they used to. So the controversy of letting Dak go would be epic, but it would also, they would lose a lot of money on the brand of Dak. So I'm more so leaning on everybody like Ken and you, OC, to where they go sign them. But how much cap money they gonna waste playing games? Because they don't care about the cap. They already showed you they don't care about the cap. The fact that they tagged him, OC, can you please explain how unwise that tag was, please? Because people don't get it. Can you,
the tag. Yeah, I mean, they tagged him. So instead of them being able to spread out a signing bonus or a salary, right, over the next, let's say, 3 to 4 years, they gave him all of his money in 1 year. All right, $37 million. He only
31.
played 4 games.
Yeah,
Excuse me,
4 games,
$31 million. I apologize.
They good.
Yeah, so they gave him that $31 million all in 1 year. That counts against their cap, and it lowers the amount of money they have in the pool to be able to sign other players and acquire much needed talent that needs to happen with this Dallas Cowboys football team. Next year, if they tag him, the bottom is right around $38 million, right, Boss Cowboy?
Yeah, and I explain why. It's around $38 million because the way the tag rules work, whenever you have to tag somebody again, they have to do a new average. So the average of the top 5 quarterbacks or 120% of your previous tag, whichever one is greater. That's the rule. So the fact that it was 31.4%, if you do 120% of 31, that's right at 38 million. So that means the bottom number that they're starting with now is 38 million. So,
which is absurd.
It's absurd, and it was super bad to do the tag in the first place. Like, and I'm gonna give another example because your examples was excellent, OC. My examples is actually going to look at Watson's contract. Because remember, our fans was like, don't you give Dak 35 million average per year? Don't you do it? Remember he's crying? He's not worth 40.
Yeah.
He better not. We will never be able to. My boy said enumerate him. Yeah, that's my favorite word. Man, that's my 2019 word. I don't say enumerate in 2020. But anyway.
Enumerate him.
Enumerate
I like it,
him.
Raquel.
Yeah, that was my 2019
Enumerate this
word.
man.
But so 38 is the starting point. But if you look at Watson's contract, which is a 39 million on APY average per year, look at the real cap hit though. Don't worry about the average. The average is just the surface we get to fight over. The cap hit is what really matters. His cap hit is only, guess what, OC, for 2020? 9 million.
What, about 14 million?
No, 9. It's just 9 million. It's 9 only.
Yeah.
And then going into 2021, you can look this up yourself. It's all public information above the cap. Just go to above the cap. It's all there. You can go look at the cap hits. And then 2021, his cap hit, you was right, OC, but it was the wrong year. You was right, but you was on the wrong year. It's 14 million in
Year ahead.
You was a year ahead. The number really gets big in 2022. That's when it's 44 million. But would you worry about that? No. For one, COVID to be behind us, which spiked the revenues on the downside. 2, the television contracts from the CBA will be in place by then. So it won't even be a nosebleed to a team. We had an opportunity to have a $9 million expense for a $40 million quarterback, and we turned it down. I'm going to say that again because I said that fast. People sometimes don't catch numbers too fast. We had a chance to pay just only $9 million in cap costs for a $40 million quarterback. And we decided to pay $31.4 million for just 4 games. That's what the tag did. So everybody that's trying to say now Dak need to be team friendly so we can pay some defense, no, the Joneses should have been team friendly and gave him a contract. Even if the contract would have been
100%.
Yeah, go ahead, OC. Go ahead. Kick it
No,
up.
I'm saying 100%. And to back up your point even more, even if you look at the massive, because a lot of fans don't understand this, even if you look at the massive numbers of, let's just say, a Patrick Mahomes contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
$450 some odd million. Well, they don't pay him over $20 million a year until he gets into the 3rd year of that extension. He's not going to make a per average of more than $20 million a year until he gets to like 3 years from now. So when you structure those deals and you get people in long-term extensions or contracts, you can spread out and allocate the money in such a way that it doesn't impede your ability, A, to get out of the contract and to acquire talent and manage the rest of the cap of your team. Like you were just brilliantly explaining, Boss Cowboy.
Thank you, my brother. And I'm going to say what you just said just another way. Dak already costs more than Mahomes. Can I say it like that?
That's true. That's true.
That's sad. Isn't that sad?
It's true.
The way that
It's true, though.
because they tagged Dak, he already costing us more than Mahomes. Now, all of our fans will say, he's no Mahomes. So why you pay him more then with the tag? And if you tag him again, if you keep playing this tag game, Dak is going to make way more career earnings than Mahomes off Dallas stubbornness. I would accept that bet. I would accept it.
And to be honest, and correct me if I'm wrong,
you want to tag me again? Go ahead. You want to tag me?
They only can tag him one more year.
Yeah, I signed it. I'd be like, yeah, pay me $38 million on top of the $31 you just paid me for 4 games. Because teams want me now. Teams know that y'all the dysfunction and not me. Because everybody else would have paid me. So, man, I didn't want to get too carried away with the numbers because we going to get heavy into them numbers one day. I want to talk about one more topic, man. But while y'all on, we going to talk about one more topic. My boy Renell said, y'all ain't talking fast. They just listening slow. My boy too fly.
Oh, don't do him like that, Renell. Don't do him like that, Renell.
Boy, he's so fly. Oh, my God.
Don't do him like that, Renell.
They listening
we
slow.
all at different levels.
Yeah, man. I was, but this stuff is sometimes complicated. Everybody don't rock with numbers, But the stuff is
what we'll do
I think
too.
We kept it simple too. I know we didn't go too carried away. Honestly, no, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
So I do want to just kind of obviously go through my little buttons and all that kind of stuff because I want y'all to follow it. Really do it. Like actually go to YouTube for Boss Cowboy Sports. We got a lot of subscribers on Facebook. We need to bump up that YouTube. We need to get that going because we want to grow. We want to do a lot of things with the fans, but the way that it works is y'all have to get behind us. Somebody asked us about a top fan. The top fan is an automated system through Facebook, but you have to hit a certain threshold of people that's supporting you. They got to see the action. So, because what it'll look like is they'll look at it like, oh, it's no real drive going on for content on that page. So y'all the ones got to actually help build this stuff, okay? With sharing, you could also support us with, cash. With Cash App, it's Boss Cowboy Sports. You can throw a couple of dollars in there if you like the graphics, like the content, because we go get greater and greater. But we get greater and greater as y'all help too. So I just wanted to say that. And go ahead, OC.
And then let me add something to that, Boss Cowboy, just real quick. Listen, guys, something that we kicked around that, Boss Cowboy, I know he won't mind me sharing, is say, man, we thought about setting up some exclusive content for our Boss Cowboy Sports Insiders, all right? And so if we set up this exclusive content and give you guys stuff before anybody else gets it and give you additional stuff and insight, would that be of interest to you, right? Would you opt into that? If we had a closed network, we set up a way that we could communicate with you guys privately, would you guys be down with that? If you would be down with that, you can just comment in the box, say down with it, right? Or you can say opt in, and then we'll kind of go from there in terms of kind of how we set things up and plan for the future.
My boy Bobby said after the show, I go follow Dallas Cowboy Truth on Facebook. It's actually under Boss Cowboy Sports. That's just a little tease on the graphic, but you got the idea. I appreciate that, Bobby. I want to go back and I'm gonna tell 2 more topics unless y'all want to do some more. OC, I'm gonna just have 2 more. But Renell had a super good question, bro. It's gonna kind of open us up a little bit, and I just want to tackle it because he challenged us with this one. He went hard on this question. My boy Renell said, going into year 6 with Dak, how can management ensure a solid core for years to come? You want to tackle that?
Yeah, so I mean, how you ensure a solid core is doing what you follow Will McClay in terms of how you draft, right? The key to building a solid core is drafting well, which the last several years underneath Will McClay's guidance, I would say they've drafted solidly. They've drafted solid players. They had a miss with the Taco Charlton. They drafted him too high. They reached for him, right? Mm-hmm. But offensively, and even with LVE, save his injuries, they've drafted very, very well. Okay, so continue to draft well, because think about this, guys. When you draft well, and this is why we were on the tankathon a bit, right? It's because you can get great talent cheap. They're not veterans. These are first contract people, so they're not going to be paid like an experienced, high-performing veteran. And that's how you build a good football team, is through the draft. Draft an offensive lineman. At some point, you're going to deal with a replacement with Tyron Smith. You need to get better interior. You have to find some way, somehow, to get better on the inside so you can stop the freaking run. You got to get better in the secondary, particularly in the safety position, and you need to get better also at corner. So, doing those things is going to help you manage it, but drafting well will be the way to save and a way to acquire good talent, in my opinion.
Killed it. Because that's a good question, man. Jesus, Renell, like, how do you guys build a team with that? God, Renell? No, but I would say everything you said and add just a little bit to it. I think Stephen Jones needs to stick to the strategy of building through the draft and being dirt cheap, not cheap, but basically making sure you don't overspend in free agency. As much as we hate that strategy, it's been a great formula to replenish your talent. If you look at all the talent that we had replenished, we replenished pretty much 90% of it, except maybe Cooper through the draft. He was the only free agent that replaced like a Dez, but Dak replaced Romo through the draft. You could say Tank replaced Ware through the draft, and I'm talking about our previous greats. Murray was replaced through the draft. You could say Mo Claiborne, Church, Carr was all replaced through the draft. So the OC is 100% correct. Is that we need to continue to keep our focus on building through the draft to continue that nucleus around Dak, to Renell's question, with one exception. It's one place we need to go ahead and bite the bullet and spin. You already know where I'm going.
Yeah.
DT, man. No cheap, no more cheap stuff on that. That's the only place in free agency we need to go ahead and just shell out some money, man. Because if you look at the history of trying to replace DTs through the draft, first of all, it's too slow.
Right.
It's too slow. Most DTs get there, but they get there by year 3. So when we got Tristan Hill, they were selling the fans on, he's going to come in and he's going to be an instant. Y'all put way too much pressure on a DT at 58, pick 58. Go through history. What DT in the second round has been an instant hit? And OC, I know you know history, and I do too. I can't think of one. But if I asked you what was a receiver in the second round, if I asked you what was an even quarterback, you could do it. If I said a DN, you would have said Tank, right? We all know second rounders that hit, but you don't know DTs that hit unless they top 5 instantly. So plug the DT hole by money. You got to spend there, Steve. And I'm sorry, we done tried the Marshalls. We tried the dollar store. No, spend the money, man. Because every year we break it down. Go ahead, OC.
No. Go ahead, Boss Cowboy. I'll let you finish, then I'll chime in. I got something.
That's the one exception to answer to Renell. Stick to the strategy, but we need to stop the bleeding that's happening in the middle, because it's also aging our linebackers. And they getting a lot of the blame. Like I'm being honest, y'all. You got to look at the game in its total sometimes. It's hard to be an awesome linebacker when it's a tidal wave of guards coming downhill at you, man. I'm just being honest. Ray Lewis, when they asked him, what can you do to help me be a better linebacker? What did he say, OC?
He said, man, you got to give me Ray Hanada. You got to give me that big old boy, that big Samoan that can plug up these two gaps. Give me some help up front. And he said, keep these boys off me in particular.
He said, keep these boys off me. Because, see, it's a lot of people don't like LV no more, and a lot of people don't like Jalen Smith no more, and they haven't been playing the best. But whenever Jerry said something that was wise, he said, whenever we saw players play great and they seem to go backwards, we got to figure out how to get them back. That was wisdom by Jerry. Don't sleep on what he said. That was wisdom. He was saying sometimes you don't just cut people because they seem to have taken a step back. We first go work with you to try to figure out what can we do to make you do your job better. Like with Dak, what did they do? They promoted Kellen Moore to a position that better fit his skill set in offense coordinating. Because Kellen Moore wasn't no teacher. Stop all that. You know this, man. You can't just be an instant teacher. You might know the game, but that's different from teaching. So he wasn't good at the position, so they went and got a teacher. Who? Kidner. We saw the change in Dak, too. So the same thing I would say what OC said on DT, and this is still talking about your question, Renell. If we want to build around Dak, you want a sick DT, which is going to help your linebackers, probably even draft a cold linebacker. And I would actually say that probably should be one of our first picks because linebacker's bad this year. Get it out the way. Get a good one early. I mean that too. I looked at it. I'm already writing a book on it. Trust me, I'm not lying to you. Don't let nobody hype you up on these third, fourth round linebackers. They not good, man. I'm telling you. Do that and continue the rest of it by building through the draft. Somebody asked, how do I put cash in the Cash App? It's Boss Cowboy Sports. Obviously a Cash App, you got to put a $sign in front of it. But it's Boss Cowboy Sports. I appreciate that. Who was that? Cheryl, of course. Cheryl, I should have known. Lord.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you. We appreciate you. But to your question, Boss Cowboy, and I want to add some more. I want to add some more bricks around your statements that you made, which were really great. So, the reason why you want to go ahead and pay for a DT is because, with the exception of your Ndamukong Suhs and your once in generational talents like Aaron Donaldson, you don't, and your once in a generation defensive tackles, which could also play defensive ends, like J.J. Watt, right? Yeah. Like, besides guys like that, you don't find elite defensive tackles right in the draft. You don't.
They develop,
and those guys are
like that. They don't.
No, those guys are going to be like your top 15 picks, right? And also, here's the reason: top 10, top 15, because Aaron Donaldson wasn't a top 10. Aaron Donaldson wasn't a top 10 pick.
What was he?
He wasn't a top 10 pick.
Oh, okay.
Donaldson was not a top 10 pick.
And
so that's the reason why I expanded.
Allen had that shoulder issue. That's the only reason he dropped. He was a top 5 graded DT that dropped, and the Redskins picked him up. But to your point, you got to be top 15 at least, basically.
Right. And so if you think about this, guys, and listen, Mark Schlereth was a guard that played with the Denver Broncos, right? And he was also has been a real famous host on like ESPN, NFL at night, all that kind of stuff. And I bring him up for a reason because I got a chance to meet Mark Schlereth. Me and Mark Schlereth actually had the same agent when I was playing, okay? And so I went up to Colorado and I was training with these guys and all that kind of stuff. And I was talking to him about the league and about defensive tackles and things like that. And then the first thing he told me before I got into any type of tryout with any type of NFL team, anything like that, he said, man, the reason why it's so difficult for newer offensive linemen and then also defensive tackles is because the strength gap from college to the pros is so tremendous.
Oh, slow
down. The power and the strength gap.
Slow down. Slow. What's that song say? Slow down.
Yeah.
What I
the
really
power
mean is
and the strength. Yeah, I am. So the power and the strength gap. So you're dealing with a 20-year-old guy playing against a 30-year-old guy that's been powerlifting since he was 20. I'm going to say that again. You're dealing with a 21-year-old young man who really his body is not even fully developed. Men's body don't fully develop until they get 23 to 25. Your bones don't even fully set as a man until you get...
Bro. Hold on. I got to hit this button because that was...
perfect.
Yeah, man. So when you come into the NFL, that's why you see a lot of players. Thank you. Appreciate you.
No problem.
That's why you see a lot of players that they grow from what Boss Cowboy mentioned, defensive tackle, even talking about Tristan Hill, and I'll talk about it in a second. They grow a lot from year 1 and year 2 to year 3. Why? Because their bones and their body is still developing. In other words, they're still getting their grown man strength. So you got very few guys that come into the league with their grown man strength. When you have a veteran that's played in NFL and he's been living the NFL lifestyle, and me and Boss Cowboy, we've been around a lot of NFL players, some of our former teammates, other guys. It's a certain lifestyle that they live, right? And the lifestyle that they live is luxury and it's fine dining and it's the best of the best in terms of food. It's the best of the best in terms of training. And so what that does is makes you strong as Hades. It makes you strong as heck, okay? So when you line up against a 330-pound man that can bench press 600 pounds and you fresh out of college and you got two of them hitting you and you only bench press 420 pounds, your body is going to give. So when you have the opportunity to draft, or not draft, but pay a guy that's 26, 27 years old, whose body is developed and who's a proven commodity in the trenches to hold up, then you do that instead of rolling the dice on a young 20-year-old kid or a young 21-year-old kid, right? So here's the thing with the Cowboys too, and the reason why I don't trust them to draft defensive tackles, right? The reason why, because the Cowboys have a bad habit the past couple years. They have a huge bad habit. And this is one of my only criticisms in terms of their draft. They have a bad habit of reaching on defensive linemen in particular that have played in weak conferences and not been dominant in their conference. They'll give a higher draft pick to a guy in the 20s, Taco Charlton, coming out of Notre Dame. He wasn't dominant in the Big Ten. And the Big Ten is not a pass-happy running type offenses there. They're going to run the ball a lot. They run a lot of power football. Yeah, they throw it. It's pro style, but they're not a spread style conference like the Big 12 conference. Then you have Tristan Hill coming out of a weaker conference. He played well, but he wasn't completely dominant in that conference. Yet they associated a high draft grade to this guy and they reached on him on the pick. And then they put undue pressure on this guy coming in because they drafted him too high.
Yep. Because they said, I mean, this is the epic pressure, man. I'll add to your point. They said we didn't get, because it was a safety that Dallas wanted that went to Kansas City. Can't remember his name, but we all wanted him. I can't remember. Somebody help me. Y'all know who I'm talking about because we passed on him. But we said we didn't get him because Tristan Hill is going to put so much pressure on the quarterback that we felt like we didn't need a safety. Are you serious?
Don't do that.
Are you serious? And our fans
don't do that,
man. You know what our fans did, OC? Our fans drank that Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid. It was really sweet though.
Ooh, some sugar.
It was super sweet.
They sweet.
Extra sugar.
Extra sugar on it. One throwing here, thank you, William. Thank you. See, because the fans remember. They remember that. We was like, bro, you passed up on him. And we passed up on DK.
We passed up on a lot of good players, man.
so
passed up on a lot of good players.
So, I mean, Renell, I know we was real long-winded on that question, but that was a good question, man. You talked about team
Great
building.
question.
So when you're talking about team building, that allowed us to go through history and kind of analyze our historical decisions and then weigh them. And it says, after looking back to try to make a decision going forward, don't do what you did last time and sell us on a DT to be the hero out the draft. I'm not buying it. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. If it's not, and we all know that this class, and see, the OC said it best, it's just natural physics. We said this. Can I say it like this, OC? It ain't gonna be no curse words, but it's gonna be from the heart.
Go ahead.
We say this in the hood when I was growing up, in football teams full of just, we all said this growing up. You can't do nothing with your daddy. He got grown man strength. We used to all say that,
there
right?
It is.
I don't care how much muscles you have. You can't do nothing with your daddy because he has grown man strength. We knew that instinctively. I'm talking. I'm lifting all kind of weights. I'm doing everything. I'm known. I didn't never test my dad. I never said it's time to try him because I knew that was gonna be a mistake. I don't care if he was 100. It's
right.
You killed that answer, bro. I'm just being honest. It's the natural physics that you have to wait to these guys to get there. That's why we saw the best of Phillips when he hit year 3. We saw the best of Tank when he hit year 3. We didn't see the best of David Irvin until he hit year 3. Tristan Hill going into year 3. Now we finally getting ready to likely see what we've been waiting on with Tristan. We were starting to see flashes of it this year before he got hurt. So anyway, man, I mean, I'm sorry to go so long on that, but that was a good question, bro.
That's good.
But that allowed
That's
us
good.
also to spread the word that we really believe that we want the fans to continue to spread is let's not pick up that Kool-Aid, man. No. When they start trying to sell us on, hey, we looking at this guy in the draft and we think this guy's going to come in and be an animal. Nah, bro. I don't care what he, I don't care who he is. No. History says throughout the whole league, if you draft a guy to solve your DT problem, we not going to see the answer to 3 years from now. So spend your money.
No, sir.
My boy Renell said he rewarded us, man. Golly, my boy Renell said just real quick, and then we out of here. Great answers. Yeah, appreciate that. So, but y'all spread that word too, man. Y'all keep putting that out there because we saying your voice matters. As you can see, we cater the show to y'all. Like that's what the whole show is really about. Like we have scheduled topics. I'm not gonna even get to all the topics I want to talk about. We got 5 more hot topics that's gonna have y'all dying. But we're not going to touch it because we more so made the show about what you want to talk about. And I know we can think on our feet to answer them because we know this team. So y'all can either kick out a couple more questions or I'm finna close up shop. I'm going to give you about 10 more seconds. Oh, so you got something?
No, listen, man, good show. Again, special shout out to Coach D. You guys can follow him on Instagram. You guys can follow him on Facebook, Athletic Zone. So support him. If you got kids, you got injuries, you're trying to get in shape yourself, hey, man, hit him up. My kids are trained with him personally, man. He'll take good care of you. And, shout out to Boss Cowboy for always holding it down on the 1s and 2s and taking care of business day in and day out.
So I'm going to say this, man. Also, thank you, OC. As always, great content. And thank you for everybody that put in some great input because y'all really did knock me off my schedule. Like, I was like, I'd rather talk about what he just asked or what Tony just asked or what Bobby just said than what we had planned because it was good fan content. It was amazing. You guys are the best. I mean that. Now, we getting ready to ramp up. Y'all gonna start seeing us more and more and more and more and more. All of everything you've been seeing, believe it or not, has been tests. It's been capacity tests. It's been making sure that we can function in a streamlined way to give you more and more content. You're getting ready to start seeing the OC and Boss a lot more. We actually want to earn the privilege to be the people that you trust with all breaking news, with everything related to the Cowboys, from drafts to money to budgets to combines to strength and conditioning to everything. We gonna really put all we have into it. Not all we have, because come on, nobody does that. But I'm just saying, we work hard here. So y'all keep your eyes on the content that's coming. By the next time we do a show, I'm gonna have a closeout statement. That's gonna be the closeout statement for the rest of the show career. Because it's something we both greatly believe in. I'm gonna tease you, it's coming from Lombardi. But I wholeheartedly believe it in the OC. It matches who we are as hosts. It matches our character. And it's gonna match what you gonna always get from this show. But I really mean we love you and thank you for participating. Thank you for sharing. And let's all grow this together because as you grow Boss Cowboy Sports, you also grow in your own voice because it matters.
Boss Cowboy Sports, where your voice matters. Cowboy Sports.
Shout out Sean.